Level 1. Football's Golden Boys. Some players you die for in your colours and despise when they play for anyone else. This video is about them, the schemers, the enforcers, the repeat offenders. But first, the exceptions. Football's Labradors. The ones you could poke in the eye and they'd apologise for getting their cornea on your finger. N'Golo Kante arrived at Leicester City in 2015, driving a Mini Cooper worth about £20,000. He kept that car after winning the Premier League. He kept it after joining Chelsea. He kept it after his salary jumped to over £100,000 a week. When a lorry clipped him on the King's Road in January 2018, he showed up to training 2 days later with the wing mirror held on by gaffer tape. His former Caen teammate, Philippe Sard, tells a story that adds to his humbleness. When they played together in France, he invited Kante to a small birthday dinner at a restaurant. Kante walked in holding a box of chocolates, looking embarrassed. He apologized for the gift. He said he'd never been invited to a birthday party before. This is a World Cup winner, a Champions League winner, a man Paul Pogba describes as the most beloved footballer in the history of the game. Opposing fans don't boo him. They can't. There's nothing to grab onto. Jack Grealish holds the Premier League record for most fouls won in a single season. Defenders target him relentlessly. And yet, when Manchester City won the Super Cup against Sevilla in 2023, Grealish stopped mid-celebration to chat with a visually impaired young fan, making UEFA President Alexander Ceferin wait twice for a handshake. After breaking lockdown rules in 2020, he made sure his club fine of £150,000 went to the University Hospitals charity in Birmingham. He promised a young fan with cerebral palsy named Finley that he'd do a special celebration if he scored at the World Cup. He scored against Iran. He did the celebration. Juan Mata co-founded Common Goal in 2017, pledging 1% of his salary to collective social causes. He holds 2 university degrees. He writes a weekly blog called 1 Hour Behind, where he reflects on football with the honesty most players save for retirement. After one devastating Manchester United defeat, his entire post read, "You deserve better. No more words needed." That's who Mata is, a footballer who treats fans like they matter. Try to recall a single controversial moment from any of these careers. You can't, and that tells you everything about what comes next. Level 2. Reputation survivors. Football forgives what it believes is out of character. One moment, one lapse, one explosion of emotion that contradicts everything supporters thought they knew. David Beckham was 23 years old when Diego Simeone flattened him from behind during the 1998 World Cup. Beckham was lying face down on the pitch. Simeone stood over him, waiting. And Beckham, the golden boy, the prodigy, the future of English football, flicked his leg backwards. It barely made contact. Simeone later admitted he threw himself to the ground like he'd been shot. The referee fell into the trap, he said years afterwards. My falling transformed a yellow card into a red. England lost on penalties. Beckham became a national villain overnight. The Daily Mirror ran 10 heroic lions, 1 stupid boy. Effigies burned outside pubs. Death threats arrived. Press camped outside his parents' home for days. But football eventually forgave him, because a 23-year-old kid getting provoked by one of the canniest players alive, that fit a different narrative. Beckham scored the last-minute free kick against Greece in 2001 to send England to the World Cup. Then he scored a penalty against Argentina in the following tournament. Redemption complete. Zinedine Zidane's headbutt in the 2006 World Cup final should have cemented his legacy as a villain, the last action of his career. Hundreds of millions watching. He drove his skull into Marco Materazzi's chest and walked off the pitch, past the trophy he would never lift. But nobody remembers Zidane as dirty, because that moment stands completely alone in a career defined by elegance, a Champions League title, and a World Cup. For 20 years, he had been the artist, the magician, the man who made football look like ballet. One headbutt couldn't erase all of that. 8 years after David Beckham's mentioned head loss, history repeated itself with a twist. Wayne Rooney stamped on Ricardo Carvalho during the 2006 World Cup quarter-final against Portugal. Red card. Penalty shootout defeat. Another golden generation eliminated. Rooney got tangled with Carvalho, and then, for reasons even he couldn't fully explain, he planted his foot down hard. England's tournament over. But here's where Rooney's story diverged from Beckham's. His own club teammate sprinted to the referee, demanding the dismissal. Cristiano Ronaldo was caught on camera winking at the Portuguese bench after Rooney walked off. The conversation shifted instantly. Rooney became the victim. One red card, two stories, and football chose the one that kept Rooney framed as young, hot-headed, and betrayed. But for Ronaldo, that wink changed everything, and we'll come back to him later. Level 3. The instigators. The most effective villains don't commit fouls, they create them. Diego Simeone understood something fundamental about competitive sport. The rules punish reactions, not provocations. If you can make someone else lose control while you stay calm, you've already won. Watch his career as a player. Watch his teams as a manager. The philosophy hasn't changed in 30 years. Get under people's skin. Slow the game down. Make the beautiful uncomfortable. That Beckham red card? Calculated. Simeone felt the contact, spotted the opportunity, and performed the fall perfectly. He was already gesturing to the referee before he hit the ground. Obviously, I was being clever, he admitted years later. By letting myself fall, I got the referee to pull out a red card immediately. As a manager, he built Atletico Madrid into La Liga's third superpower using the same principles. 2 league titles, 2 Europa Leagues, 2 Champions League finals. His teams mastered the dark arts, tactical fouls to kill counterattacks, time-wasting elevated to performance art, set-piece routines designed to provoke as much as score. Critics called it anti-football. Simeone called it winning. Sergio Busquets built a Champions League dynasty on similar principles, just disguised in tiki-taka's silk. Those Barcelona teams under Pep Guardiola passed opponents into submission, but when the passing failed, Busquets knew the other game. The infamous moment came in 2010. Inter Milan's Thiago Motta brushed Busquets' face with his hand. Busquets collapsed like he'd been struck by lightning, then peeked through his fingers to check if the referee had bought it. He had. Motta walked. When asked to explain his reputation for simulation, Busquets offered no apology. It's not play acting, it's being smart. Is it cheating? Depends on your definition, but it works. Simeone won 2 La Liga titles playing this way. Busquets won 3 Champions Leagues, 8 league titles, and everything else. Level 3 is manipulation so precise it doesn't leave fingerprints. The ref sees the retaliation, he never sees what caused it. Level 4. Perception villains. At this level, perception matters more than evidence. Bruno Fernandes commits tactical fouls at the same rate as most Premier League midfielders. His disciplinary record is nothing special, but opposition fans hate him. It's the way he appeals for every decision with arms spread wide. The theatrical outrage 14 times per match. His exaggeration when fouled. The screaming at teammates when the fault was clearly his. None of this breaks rules. All of it breaks something else. An unwritten code about how players should carry themselves. Bruno's crime isn't what he does, it's how he looks doing it. Watch him after a referee ignores his appeal. The disbelief, the open palms, the way he looks at the crowd as if to say, "Can you believe this?" Every neutral watching thinks the same thing. Just get on with the game. But Bruno can't. The performance is compulsive, and that's exactly why opposition fans wait for him to fail. Emiliano Martinez won a World Cup partly through gamesmanship that stopped just short of illegal. The dancing during penalty shootouts, the verbal provocations, the delay tactics pushing referees' patience without quite crossing into bookable offences. In the 2022 final, he saved Kingsley Coman's penalty, put off Aurélien Tchouaméni so badly he missed the target entirely, and denied Randall Kolo Muani in the 123rd minute to keep Argentina winner alive. Nothing he did was against the rules. He was simply willing to be hated in exchange for winning. Most goalkeepers try similar tactics occasionally. Martinez does it every single time, with maximum visibility at maximum stakes. The Golden Glove trophy celebration after the final told you everything. He held it against his crotch and thrust toward the French supporters. On the biggest stage in football, hundreds of millions watching live. When asked why, his answer was simple. I did it because the French booed me. Pride does not work with me. Even Lionel Messi warned him not to do it. Martinez did it anyway. He doesn't just accept that people hate him, he seems to enjoy it. The villain role fits him like a glove. Level 4 reputations are built on vibes. They can collapse as quickly as they formed, but while they last, the hatred feels completely justified.
Level 5. The enforcers.
Some players cross the line from uncompromising to violent. Not once, repeatedly. They cared about winning, but the rules were suggestions they frequently ignored. Roy Keane was sent off 11 times for Manchester United. That's nearly 1 red card per season across 12 years. Stamps, punches, studs-up challenges. The rap sheet reads like a criminal record. His first red came for stamping on Gareth Southgate in an FA Cup semi-final replay. Gareth deserved that, Keane said years later. He tried to break my leg. Then there was Jan Åge Fjørtoft. Keane threw a punch at the Middlesbrough striker after his shirt got tugged. That was a bit silly, he admitted. I tried to punch him, I didn't connect. But the one everyone remembers is Alf Inge Haaland. In 1997, Keane ruptured his cruciate ligament during a match against Leeds. He was attempting a tackle on Haaland. As Keane lay on the pitch in genuine agony, Haaland stood over him and told him to stop faking. Keane never forgot. April 2001, Manchester derby at Old Trafford. Haaland now wearing City blue. The game drifting toward a draw. And then Keane saw his opportunity. I'd waited long enough, he wrote in his autobiography. I hit him hard. The ball was there, I think. Take that. And don't ever stand over me again sneering about fake injuries. Knee high, studs showing. No realistic attempt to play the ball. Keane walked off before the referee even reached for his pocket. When the autobiography came out, the FA reopened the case. Keane received an additional 5-match ban and a £150,000 fine, the largest in English football history at the time. I don't regret any of them, Keane said of his red cards. He meant it. Sergio Ramos holds the record for most red cards in La Liga history. 30 career dismissals, 191 yellow cards in the Spanish top flight alone, more than any player in Europe's top 5 leagues. The most carded player in Champions League history, 5 red cards in El Clasico alone, another record. The catalogue of incidents reads like a highlights reel from a different sport. Stepping on Eliseu's chest while the Malaga defender lay on the ground. A studs-up challenge that caught Augusto Fernandez on the chest and neck. A chest-high kick on Didier Drogba. The 2018 Champions League final defined him for millions. Liverpool arrived as neutrals' favourites. Mohamed Salah departed after 30 minutes. Shoulder dislocated after Ramos locked his arm and dragged him to the ground. Liverpool's goalkeeper Loris Karius made 2 catastrophic errors. Real Madrid won 3-1. 500,000 people signed a petition demanding action against him. Ramos denied intent. Jurgen Klopp was less diplomatic. If you put all of Ramos's actions together, you will see that he makes a lot of bad fouls. Ruthless and brutal. 4 Champions League titles, 5 La Liga titles, a World Cup winner. At 38, still collecting red cards in Mexico. His 30th came for Monterrey in March 2025. The brilliance was never in question. Neither was the pattern. Vinnie Jones made intimidation his entire identity. 12 red cards, the fastest booking in football history. 3 seconds for a foul so early the referee barely had time to restart his watch. A year earlier, he'd set the previous record at 5 seconds. He was fined a record £20,000 for producing an instructional video called Soccer's Hard Men, which demonstrated techniques for committing fouls without getting caught. The photograph of him grabbing Paul Gascoigne became one of football's most reproduced images. He told Gascoigne in the tunnel before that February 1988 match, "It's just you and me today, fatty. I ain't playing football, and neither are you."
3 minutes into the game, Gascoigne asked the referee how long there was left. But here's the thing about Jones. He never pretended to be anything else, and Hollywood noticed. After football, he built a career playing villains in films. Bullet-Tooth Tony in Snatch, the Juggernaut in X-Men. The casting directors understood what opposition midfielders learned the hard way. Vinnie Jones was born to play the bad guy.
Level 6. Chaos icons. Brilliance wrapped in volatility. Talent inseparable from turmoil. Remember that wink? Cristiano Ronaldo returned to England after the 2006 World Cup, expecting the worst. "I was afraid," he admitted later. "Not of Rooney, of the fans. I thought they were going to boo me in every stadium." He was right, they did. Every away ground in England became hostile territory. The tabloids branded him a traitor. Fans who'd cheered his skills now screamed abuse every time he touched the ball. And Ronaldo fed on it. "Maybe someone doesn't like me because maybe I'm too good," he said when asked about diving accusations. Early in his career, he'd earned a reputation for going down easily. He was booked for simulation. Opposition supporters booed him during team announcements, booed him when he was fouled, booed him when he scored. Most players would crumble. Ronaldo used the hatred as fuel. The season after the World Cup wink, he scored 23 goals, won the PFA Player of the Year, won the league. The season after that, 42 goals. Champions League, Ballon d'Or. Perceived arrogance, theatrical appeals, the flexed celebrations after every goal. Ronaldo became the player opposition fans loved to hate, but couldn't ignore. He thrived on scrutiny that would break most athletes. The criticism didn't wound him, it confirmed he mattered. Even football's governing body seemed to pile on. In 2013, then FIFA President Sepp Blatter mocked Ronaldo at Oxford, parodying his walk, joking about his hairdresser expenses. Ronaldo's response was ice cold. "This video shows clearly the respect and consideration that FIFA has for me, my club, and my country. Much is explained now." 2 days later, he scored a hat-trick and celebrated with a military salute aimed directly at Blatter, crowning it with winning the Ballon d'Or that January. Diego Costa perfected provocation as offensive weaponry. Defenders knew he would elbow them, step on feet, grab shirts, whisper things designed to provoke retaliation. They knew all of this. They reacted anyway. Costa understood that anger makes defenders stupid. A centre-back thinking about revenge isn't thinking about positioning. By the time they'd recovered composure, Costa had already scored. Was it sporting? Absolutely not. Was it effective? Ask Chelsea about those 2 Premier League titles. L'Équipe named him the most hated footballer in the world in 2015. He wore that like a badge of honor. Now to the other side of the Zidane incident. Marco Materazzi collected confrontations for years before the World Cup final made him globally famous. Shirt-pulling, physical intimidation, comments designed to unsettle. At Everton, he was sent off 3 times in just 27 games. In 2004, he punched Siena player Bruno Cirillo in the dressing room after a match, fracturing his lip and earning an 8-match ban. Then came Berlin. Extra time. The score locked at 1-1. Zidane had just missed a header that would have won it. Minutes later, as both players walked upfield, Zidane offered his jersey. Materazzi's reply? "No, I'd prefer your sister." He knew exactly what would happen. He didn't care. Winning mattered more than honor. That single line probably cost France the World Cup. Zidane walked off in shame, past the trophy he would never touch. Same incident, 2 reputations, 2 legacies. Zidane was forgiven because the moment broke his character. Materazzi was judged because the moment confirmed his. Level 6 players create controversy. The chaos follows them because it lives inside them. Level 7. Ultimate villains. Some players lose the benefit of the doubt entirely. When Luis Suarez bit Giorgio Chiellini at the 2014 World Cup,
No neutral was shocked. They were watching it happen again, for the third time. First bite, November 2010. Suarez at Ajax. Otman Bakal's shoulder during a match against PSV. 7-match ban. The Dutch press nicknamed him the Cannibal of Ajax. Second bite, April 2013. Suarez at Liverpool. Branislav Ivanovic's arm mid-match against Chelsea. 10-match ban. Third bite, Brazil. World Cup group stage against Italy. Chiellini pulling down his shirt to show the referee the teeth marks. Suarez sitting on the ground holding his own mouth as if he were the victim. 4-month ban from all football activities. 9-match international suspension. The longest sanction in World Cup history. And Suarez showed no remorse. Asked at the 2022 World Cup whether he'd apologize for deliberately punching the ball off the line in the quarter-final against Ghana in 2010, "I did the handball, but the Ghana player missed the penalty, not me. It's not my fault." 3 bites. The Ghana handball celebrated from the tunnel. The persistent refusal to acknowledge wrongdoing. A pattern that transcended any single incident. To his credit, he sought psychological help after the ban. Whatever demons drove those moments, they've stayed quiet since. Pepe had a temper. Everyone knew it. But one incident haunted him so much he almost walked away from football entirely. April 2009. Real Madrid versus Getafe. Pepe pushed Javi Casquero to ground inside the area. Penalty awarded. Then he lost his mind completely. He kicked Casquero twice while he was down, raking studs across his back. When Getafe players intervened, he punched Juan Albin in the face. 10-match ban. One of the longest in La Liga history. The worst day of my life as a player and as a person, Pepe said afterwards. If I'm not in the right state to return to playing, I'll try to do something else to support my family. The incidents continued. The stamp on Messi's hand in the 2012 Clásico. The headbutt on Thomas Müller at the 2014 World Cup. 3 Champions League titles. Endless highlight reels of brutality. Yet teammates insist he's one of the gentlest people they've ever known. Day to day, he's a zen guy, said Danilo. When I see him raging in games, I think, it can't be the same person. Football rarely allows for contradictions, but Pepe was it. Luis Figo belongs here too, not for violence, but for a betrayal so complete that Barcelona supporters brought a severed pig's head to express their feelings. Figo was Barcelona's captain, icon, untouchable, but he also felt undervalued, one of the best players in the world, one of the worst paid at his own club. So when Real Madrid presidential candidate Florentino Perez offered a deal, Figo listened. The terms: if Perez won the election, Figo would transfer. If Perez lost, Figo kept a £1.7 million bonus and stayed at Barcelona. If Perez won and Figo refused, he'd owe £22 million in penalties. Easy money. Perez was the underdog. He'd never win. Perez won. Figo was trapped. Days later, their captain was holding a Real Madrid shirt. His second return to Camp Nou produced the pig's head, plus coins, bottles, mobile phones, and a knife. The referee stopped the match for 12 minutes. Figo stood at the corner flag, clearing debris with his foot, while supporters screamed for his head. He says he has no regrets. He blames Barcelona's board for never valuing him. The villain and the victim. Both things true simultaneously. Joey Barton might be the purest level 7 example, villainy extending beyond the pitch, continuing long after the playing career ended. The training ground assault on teammate Ousmane Dabo in May 2007. Hospital treatment required for head injuries, including a suspected detached retina. Dabo said Barton attacked from behind and continued until he lost consciousness. 4-month suspended prison sentence. A separate assault conviction from an incident in Liverpool city centre led to a 6-month jail term. He served 74 days. The final day incident at QPR in 2012. Sent off for elbowing Carlos Tevez, then kicked Sergio Aguero in the back of the knee and attempted to headbutt Vincent Kompany, all within minutes of seeing red. 12-match ban. Then 1,260 bets on football over 10 years. An 18-month suspension that effectively ended his playing career. The pattern continued into management. Controversial public statements. Online campaigns targeting colleagues. Posts later deemed illegal by a court. In 2025, convicted on counts of sending grossly offensive communications. A separate conviction for domestic assault the same year. Barton had ability. He earned an England cap. Multiple managers believed they could channel his intensity productively. None succeeded. The cycle repeated regardless of club, manager, or setting.
With level 7 players, the exhaustion is collective. Football keeps offering second chances. The players keep burning them. Kante brought chocolates to a birthday party because he'd never been invited to one before. Joey Barton stubbed a cigar into a teammate's eye at a Christmas party. Football contains both. The only question is, which version you choose to become. If this video made you think of a name that still makes your jaw clench, drop it in the comments.